So welcome once again to my channel. So Mukund Sriram, Assistant Professor Marian International Institute of Management. So in this session, we'll be talking about the risk and returns in a mutual fund. Okay. So these are the contents that we are going to learn today. The drivers of returns and risk in a scheme, the measures of returns, drivers of risk in a scheme, measures of risk, then benchmark and performance, how to choose between scheme categories, how to select a mutual fund within a scheme category, which is the better option within a scheme, and sources of data to track mutual fund performance. Okay. So basically, throughout this video, we'll be learning some of the theoretical perspectives of risk and return in a mutual fund. And in the next video, we'll be seeing the calculation part of risk and return in a mutual fund scheme. Okay. See, what is the major thing to study this one is nothing, because we have around 20 to 25,000 schemes in mutual fund, but not all performs very great. Okay, and that is a point where we have to see the risk and return of various schemes to choose our investment scenario. Fine. So we'll start off. So the drivers of return and risk in a scheme. So what are the things in a mutual fund which relates to risk and return of that particular scheme? The portfolio is the main driver of returns in a mutual fund scheme. Okay. The portfolio talks about asset class in which the fund is invested. For example, there are equity funds, debt funds, hybrid funds, and the asset class. Okay. Apart from that, we can say various investment avenues as asset class, like real estate, gold, right, bank deposits, individual stocks, all those things. The second one is the segment or sectors of the market in which the fund will focus on. For example, can you give any example for segment or sectors? See, for example, we can see automobile industry or IT industry. Okay, these are various sectors. So based on the growth of that particular sector only, these funds will perform. Then the styles adopted to select the securities for the portfolio, it is highly specific to the fund manager. And the strategies adopted to manage the portfolio, the strategies may include active and passive. Active in the sense, the fund managers will be constantly or consistently will be shifting, or they will have an upper hand on the portfolio, so that those people can switch between various schemes. So these will determine the risk and return in a mutual fund scheme. Okay, the underlying factors are different for each asset class. So we'll be seeing the risk and return involved in various asset class before your investments. See, these are the four major investment avenues. Apart from this, bank deposits are also there, but we'll see the four major investment classes, their return and risk. First of all, equity. As you know, equity in the sense stocks. Okay, so what are the returns that you know when it comes to equity? The major return from equity is capital appreciation, right? You will be investing 100 shares of ITC in the year of 1985, and it will turn into a magic when it comes to 2005 or 2010. So that time horizon talks about capital appreciation. In between this time, we'll also be getting what? We'll also be getting dividends or stock splits. These same things are applicable for mutual funds also. Okay. And what are the risk in equity? Absence of fixed returns linked to the earnings of business. Continuous evaluations are needed, and not all businesses win. Okay. So not all mutual funds win. That's what I am trying to say. because we have these many schemes, and those schemes are investing in various stocks in various sectors. Not everything will perform judiciously or nicely. So equity has more returns and more risk. And when it comes to debt, the return is interest return, or otherwise known as coupon returns, and repayment of principal. So basically you will be getting interest. And what are the risk involved in debt? Suppose you are investing in a government bond, 10-year government bond. After 3 years you are going to withdraw that money. Okay, what is happening? So you will be incurring some loss if you are selling it before maturity. And another risk involved in debt scheme is credit default risk. The principal or the payer may default to pay. Okay, and that is not with the government. We are talking about corporate bonds. At that time only credit default is applicable. Next one is real estate. So two things. The returns are capital appreciation. Okay. Another thing, locational advantage. So based on locational advantage only, you will be getting money for your property or what? A piece of land. And the risk involved in real estate include government rules, taxes, liquidity. Government rules in the sense, for example, you can see that Kasturi Rangan report. So what happened? People are not able to buy or sell or use that places. Okay. And other taxes plus liquidity issue. That is a main issue with the real estate. Unlike equity or debt, real estate is not that much easy to be realized to cash. Okay. And last one, gold. Gold also the same thing, capital appreciation. So the result or risk related to gold is recession, global scenario, and rupee value. Okay. For example, during this corona, we have seen the stock markets falling. But amid COVID-19, the prices of gold has been soared or increased to around 38,000 levels. So these are the drivers of returns and risk in a scheme. Now we'll see the measures of returns. See, it is very easy to understand this thing with an example. What is simple return? It is basically the change in value of an investment over a period of time. Okay. You have invested 100 rupees on January 1st, 2010, and on December 31st, you are getting 110, means 10% growth. Right. And annualized return, that is the second thing. Basically, annualized return talks about comparing the returns of two investments. Okay. So it will help you to find out which one is better. And compounded return. Compounded return revolves around compound interest. It is an addition of interest to the principal. Okay. So you are not withdrawing the interest, and again interest is added to the principal amount, and principal plus interest will be calculated. Yes, those are the three things. And when it comes to mutual fund and other stocks, the good return, the better calculator is CAGR, compounded annual growth rate. Compounded annual growth rate, in simple terms, it talks about the values between two periods. Okay. First of all, you see that formula. CAGR is equal to end value divided by beginning value raised to 1 by n. What is n? Number of years invested minus 1. See the example. On 3/1/2012, you have invested 2,000 rupees. On 3/7/2019, it became 5,000 rupees. So what is the actual return and what is the CAGR? So actual return talks about 2,000 divided by 5,000 into 100, right? But that is not the case. CAGR, you should see what is the CAGR of particular scheme. In this case, we'll be plugging those values into that formula to calculate CAGR. End value 5,000, beginning value 2,000. So 5,000 divided by 2,000 raised to 1 by how many years? 7 years. 1 by 7 minus 1. So you will be getting 13.9%. So CAGR is the most important number that you should see if you are investing in mutual funds or stocks. Okay, that is compounded annual growth rate. So these are the 4 measures of returns, and CAGR is the most important or most accurate return or widely used return calculator when it comes to investing in stocks or mutual funds. Fine. So these are the drivers of risk in a scheme. So portfolio risk, portfolio liquidity, liabilities in the scheme, uses of derivatives. These 4 things ignite the risk in a scheme. When it comes to portfolio risk, investors invest in a mutual fund scheme which in turn invests in the market depending upon the nature of the scheme. So based on where it is invested, see, for example, you can take public sector banks. Okay, from 2009 to 2000, around 2017 last or early 2018, it was performing extremely well. But after 2018, due to various frauds and other reduced earnings and increased NPA, these public sector banks are under pressure. Okay, so when these public sector banks are under pressure, the mutual funds which are having holdings in public sector banks will fall. That is known as portfolio risk. Another example you can state is automobile industry. Automobile industry or automobile sector was booming from 2011 to 2017. But from what happened from 2018, many other rules came, and automobile sales is not very overwhelming. So automobile share prices came down. So what happens? The companies, the mutual funds invested in automobile sector will also come down. So that talks about portfolio risk. Another thing is portfolio liquidity. Liquidity means easily transferable to cash. So we should see the liquidity of a fund if we are investing. Okay, for example, there is a category called ELSS, equity linked savings scheme. Okay, and if you are investing in ELSS, you will be getting tax benefits. But what is the disadvantage in ELSS is that you will not be able to liquidate or sell it for the first 3 years. So that talks about liquidity. And liabilities in the scheme. Liabilities means what are the liabilities for an investor when he invests in mutual fund? Basically, a mutual fund scheme can borrow more than 20%. They cannot borrow more than 20% of its net assets. Why these people are borrowing? What do you mean by borrowing in this scenario? See, many of us have pooled some money in mutual fund. So these people are eligible to, these people in the sense mutual fund companies are eligible to take or mortgage 20% of the amount that we have contributed. For what? It is to meet the cash flow needs of investor servicing, dividend payments or repurchase payments. All these, for doing all these transactions, mutual fund companies can take 20% or borrow 20% of the net assets. Net assets means our money only. Okay, and it cannot be more than for 6 months also. And those are the liabilities in the scheme. And uses of derivatives. Derivative is another important field. Okay, derivative talks about deriving the value of the derivative comes from its underlying asset. So basically, don't understand all those things. You just know derivative is a hedging tool, or it is a tool to reduce risk. Okay, so based on the performance of derivatives, some hedge funds also perform. So these are the 4 drivers of risk in a mutual fund scheme. Fine. And what are the measures of risk? See, when you talk about risk, you will be knowing 3 things: variance, standard deviation, and beta. What is variance? Variance measures the fluctuation in periodic returns of a scheme. Okay, as compared to its own average return. So it is a difference between actual return and average return. It is a measure of risk for both debt and equity schemes. So if you are investing in debt or equity schemes, you should first of all find out the variance. If variance is very high, that means it is somewhat more risk. And next one is standard deviation. It is a measure of total risk in an investment. Okay, so what it signifies? High standard deviation means high volatility in return and risk. So you should be investing in a portfolio which has comparatively less standard deviation and variance. Fine. Another third important measure of risk in mutual fund is called beta. Beta measures the fluctuation in periodic returns in a scheme as compared to fluctuation in periodic returns of a diversified stock index. Okay, so basically beta is the process of comparing the performance of a particular mutual fund scheme with its benchmark index. Okay, so see the example. An investment with a beta of 0.8 will move 8% when market moves by 10%. Okay. So what is the benefit and what is the cost? If our stock market is moving 10%, this thing will go only up to 8%. And if our stock market is falling by 10%, this thing will fall only 8%. So that is a benefit, right? But for a long-term investor, you can select high beta stocks. So what is high beta stock? Another example, see, an investment with a beta of 1.2 will move by 12% on both upside and downside. So a person who can take more risk can also try mutual fund schemes having high beta, so that you will be able to generate quite a bit of returns. Okay, so these are the three risks that you have to check. And next one, benchmark and performance. What is benchmark? In the earlier slide, we talked about benchmark. It is basically comparing the actual return of a mutual fund with a benchmark index. Okay. So how a credible benchmark should be? It should meet some requirements. It should be synced with investment objectives of the scheme, asset allocation pattern, and investment strategy of the scheme. So benchmark should be equal to all these three things particular to a scheme, and the benchmark should be calculated by an independent agency in a transparent manner. Okay, so benchmark calculation should not be kept hidden. So these things should be done in a transparent manner. And benchmarks are usually constructed by stock exchanges, credit rating agencies, and other financial publications. So this is decided by the AMC in consultation with the trustees. Okay, so if you are going to invest in a mutual fund, you will be getting the offer document. In that offer document, they should clearly mention which is the benchmark used to compare its return. So benchmark is also a statutory and a compulsory requirement for the companies to be shown to the investors, and only by checking the benchmark you will be able to decide whether to invest or not, because there are many schemes and those schemes may underperform the benchmark. So what is the reason of investing in that fund? So only try to invest in mutual funds which is performing better than its benchmark. Okay, so this is an example of benchmark. So that orange line shows about the returns generated from UTI equity fund. That is one of a mutual fund scheme, and its benchmark is S&P BSE 100, and that is its benchmark. So from 2012 to around December 2013, the returns were equal, but CAGR has kick-started from 2013. So what happened? From 2013 to April 2015, that UTI equity fund is performing better than its benchmark index, that is S&P BSE 100. So you will be seeing a graph like this. So if you see this graph, you can confidently invest, okay, because it is performing better than its benchmark. So how to choose between scheme categories? First of all, we'll see what are the various schemes available, scheme categories. Active or passive, open-ended or close-ended, diversified, large cap, mid cap, short-term, liquid, hybrid, short-term, liquid and hybrid. Fine. So based on what you should select mutual fund to invest. Suppose you are having some money or you are ready to invest in SIP mode, 5,000 rupees each. So how can you select? Suppose you are around 24 or 25 of 25 years old. So my suggestion is mostly opt equity funds, because you can take a large amount of risk. Okay, and your portfolio should consist more than 75% of equity mutual funds. Okay, because you have a long way to go, right? Equity gives you good returns, but not in short term. Okay, if you see in short term, like during this corona and COVID, stock markets are not performing that great. So if you see your SIP or mutual fund investment, it will be impacted very heavily and very negatively. But don't lose your hope. At that time, you should add more in a staggered manner, which I will give you a session on that. So based on that, you can plan your retirement very fast, right? So based on two factors you can choose. First one is investors' ability to take risk. If you are very young, you can take more exposure on equity. And investors' time horizon, again, if you are very young, you can take more risk or you can bet with equity. And what happens? Time will prove everything. Okay. Now coming to the fund category, active and passive. In active funds, the fund manager manages the portfolio quite often. Okay. In passive funds, there is no active fund management. What is this fund management or active? See, passive funds provide returns based on the index, but lesser than active funds. Passive funds means, for example, Aditya Birla Sun Life Index Fund. Okay. This is a passive fund whereby fund manager is not managing anything. The return on that particular Aditya Birla Index Fund comes only from the market's performance, NSE 100 or NSE Nifty 50. Okay. So there is no question of activating or switching the portfolio. But when it comes to active funds, the fund managers have quite a bit of a role, because these people will switch stocks, switch sectors, and all those things will happen based on the performance of those individual stocks in that mutual funds portfolio. And next one is open-ended and close-ended scheme. So what is open-ended scheme means? You can invest at any time and redeem at any time. Okay. And close-ended schemes means they provide more returns, but they provide less liquidity. Close-ended funds, have you seen newspaper advertisements for close-ended funds? Because in close-ended funds, you can invest from, see, that thing will be open for 5 or 10 days. So people will be investing that. Then it will be closed. No one can invest or no one can redeem. And that is the issue. Okay. Close-ended provides more return also. And next category talks about diversified, sectoral or thematic. So diversified means multi-sector. Okay. I will see the example. Sectoral means cement or steel based on the sectors of the industry. And thematic means infrastructure. Okay. Thematic is more wide, right? And sectoral, cement and steel comes under infrastructure, right? And infrastructure and automobile industry is diversified or multi-sector. That is known as diversified. So we'll see the examples once again. That diversified means infrastructure plus automobile. Sectoral means cement, steel, iron, gas, all those things. And thematic means one sector like infrastructure or automobile or IT, like that. So diversified has generally low risk because it will be investing in various kinds of stocks, right? But comparatively less returns. So thematic is better in good market conditions. So large cap, mid cap and small cap. Large cap are also known as blue chip companies or blue chip funds. Those things are very good for the long term. And mid cap and small cap can be taken for high risk takers, because those returns will be very high, but risk will also be very high. More than returns, risk is there in mid cap and small cap. Okay. So those who are having, those who are very afraid of going with mid cap and small cap can obviously take large cap funds, which will perform very good, but during long term. And next one, short term, liquid and hybrid. Short term means which are having the maturities between 1 to 3 years. The returns will be less, the risk will be very less. Okay. Yeah. And liquid funds, highly liquid. Okay. And liquid funds have the lowest risk and lowest return of all kinds of mutual fund. See, the returns will be generally around more than savings bank, but less than fixed deposit, if I am fair to say. Where these things will be invested, when you are investing in liquid funds, those money will be invested in T-bills, commercial papers and other money market instruments, which provide very less returns but very less risk also. And hybrid fund is a combination of equity and debt. So invest 60 to 70% in debt instruments. It provides lesser returns than equity funds, but more returns than debt funds. So to sum up, if you want to invest in mutual fund, you should find yourself. Okay, you should find yourself where you stand. It is based on your ability to take risk and what is your time horizon of investment. It is not ideal to ask our parents who are around 60 to 70 years old to have a maximum exposure on equities. So those people should go with debt. But we people like 20, 25 years old or 30 years, we can build our portfolio maximum by investing in equities. So that gives you an idea. So now, how to select scheme within scheme categories. Okay. When it comes to selecting the scheme within scheme category, you should be seeing the parameters. You should know the fund performance, fund portfolio, fund age, fund size and scheme expense. Fund performance talks about comparison of the fund that you are going to invest with its benchmark index. And fund portfolio talks about where the money is invested. Okay. If you are seeing the fund portfolio to be very risky, you should avoid that. Another one is fund age. So you should see the long track record of winnings. Okay. So laggards should be avoided. Laggards means those who are underperforming. For example, Aditya Birla Sun Life 96 Tax Relief Fund. That is a good fund. I am not saying that you to invest, but if you are checking its track records, it is immaculate. It is good actually. And next one, the fund size. The asset under management should be high. AUM means the total money that scheme has. Like we are around 1,000 to 2,000 investors. We are pooling money. That total money is known as asset under management. And the scheme expense, entry load and exit load should be very less. So these things, if these things are positive, then you can go for investing in a particular MF scheme. And better option within a scheme. So there are various schemes available within a scheme. Okay, those are dividend payout option. So dividend payout option talks about providing a regular income to the investor. And growth option, it is for long-term investment, and the main objective in that growth option is capital appreciation. And what are the sources of data to check mutual fund performance? So the basic thing is that you can find out all the details about anything in Google, right? So if you are using Money Control, Value Research or ClearTax or any kinds of these websites, you will be getting 100% data. Okay. And you can check your performance or the things related to your mutual fund, you can visit your mutual fund branches also. From there, officers will be there to help you. And fund fact sheets, product notes and brochures will also help you to find out the performance. And these fact sheets include the information regarding suitability, riskometer, returns and portfolio description. Suitability means what is the based on the risk that you can take or the age that you are having, it talks about suitability. And riskometer is a meter which shows about the risk and return in a particular scheme. And return talks about comparison of historic returns with benchmark returns. And last, portfolio description, it talks about all the funds related or the funds where these things are invested in that particular scheme. Okay, so we were talking about the risk and return in a particular scheme, and we also saw the important measures of risk and return. If you are taking return in a mutual fund scheme, you should know compounded annual growth rate, CAGR. Okay, and you should know the formula. And if you are taking the risk part or calculation of risk, you should know standard deviation, variance and beta. And in the next video, we'll be seeing the analysis part of a mutual fund using Jensen ratio and Trenor ratio. Okay, so thank you.